Now we're going to start writing the code for the command design pattern, and you have to know about the names of the various parts in this pattern. The servers that are going to receive the commands, are going to be the target of the commands, are called the receiver in the command design pattern. The Euro server, the Asia server, and the US server are the receivers in this case. And the code that actually runs the commands, the client code that actually runs the commands, is called the invoker. So it invokes the various commands. Commands themselves are just called commands in this case, but you should know that the code that uses the commands is called the invoker, and the code that is the target of the commands is called the receiver. We have 3 receivers in this case, 1 invoker, and 3 different commands. Okay, let's start off by working with by creating the receivers, the servers in this case. I'm going to do this in Java code. I'm going to create commands. We're going to create invoker code as well. I'm going to start off with the receiver. And so the receiver is going to implement a number of different commands which can be called by each individual command, a number of different methods, each of which can call by different commands. And so you have the connect method, diagnostics, reboot, shutdown, and disconnect. These are all methods that are going to be implemented by the receiver, and the commands can then call these individual methods if they want to. Okay, so here's the Asian server. It's going to implement the receiver interface, and I'm going to have a empty public constructor. You have a connect method that just prints out you're connected to the Asia server, and diagnostics method prints out your Asia server diagnostics, check out OK. A shutdown method that says shutting down the Asia server. So as you see, this is all programming the Asia server. It implements the receiver interface, and we're going to have to implement all these methods. Rebooting the Asia server, and disconnecting, you're disconnected from the Asia server. So you see, we're going to be able to work with our commands and handle the work with the receiver, the 3 different receivers in this case. That is the Asia receiver, the Euro server receiver, implements the receiver interface as well, and it's going to say connect. You're connected to the Euro server, diagnostics, the Euro server diagnostics, check out OK. Shutdown, shutting down the Euro server. Rebooting the Euro server. Disconnect, you're disconnected from the Euro server. Okay, so that takes care of the Asian and Euro servers. Now we're going to have the US server class as well. Implements the receiver interface. Connect says you're connected to the US server. Diagnostics says the US server diagnostics, check out OK. They're going to be shutting down the US server in the shutdown method. Rebooting the US server in the reboot method. Disconnecting, you're disconnected from the US server. So the idea is to build the receivers. The receivers have all these different little methods that can be called. You want to avoid calling all those little methods yourself. You want to encapsulate those calls inside commands and just use those commands. That way you can load a command into the invoker and invoke the command, and the command will take care of handling all the details, all these different little methods inside the receivers. So that's the plan. You have the invoker, you load a command object and execute it, and it works with the particular server that it's supposed to work with, and does what it's supposed to do by calling all the individual methods inside that receiver. So next, we're going to try to create the actual commands themselves. That's coming up next.